Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so JP has just tweeted out the information on the physical MVP 17 EZA. We were expecting this news today. I know the EZA comes out in the game fairly soon. I'm very interested to see what he does. We put out a fan-made cards thing on 5.9 not super long ago. I'm not sure exactly when the video dropped. So I'm very interested to see what he is going to do, because I talked about in a video when his EZA was announced how good he is potentially going to be for some of these teams that he's on, being that he was a defensive support unit before. Now remember, before he had damage reduction if you were below a certain amount of HP, and then other than that he didn't really do a huge amount, right? So he was a good support unit in his heyday. And then when he aged out of the meta, he did kind of become, you know, very much unusable because he was lacking his own defense. So, shout out to the homie Goresh, who has the translations up already. So, let's go ahead and see what he does. So, he is an androids category lead for 3 key and 170 across the board, as well as super physical 3 key and 120. So, pretty decent leader skill. I'm not sure if there are that many like super physical units you would want to sub into an android team that you were running with his leader skill, but pretty decent android lead overall. And then passive is attack and defense 120% at the start of the turn. He gains an additional attack 120% when launching a super attack. Okay, gets an additional defense 17% for each attack received, maximum of 50%. Okay, all allies key +3 and defense 60%. That is the same. Damage reduction of 17%. Then he gets an additional 40% damage reduction and gives all allies an additional defense 17% if HP is 77% or less. So basically he has the same sort of HP restriction, still gives him the 40% damage reduction. It also gives all allies an extra 17% defense, and he has his own 17% damage reduction. So if you're at 77% or less HP, then Android 17 is getting 57% damage reduction, and he's then giving all allies 77% defense, which frankly is a ridiculously large amount of defense to be getting off of one unit. That is pretty crazy. And then his super attack effect is raise defense for 1 turn, does immense damage, and greatly lowers attack and defense. So I think if I remember rightly from talking about his details when his EZA was announced, he actually did not have any super attack effect in terms of raising defense for the turn. So that's really good, because remember, this guy is basically just going to be a slot 1 unit. Slot 3 floating support unit, not a slot 1 unit. So raising defense for 1 turn on super is good. Then he needs to get hit, what is it going to be, 3 times to get his passive fully maxed out, the extra 50% defense. So obviously on the first turn, it's going to be weird, because if you're using him as a 3rd slot floating unit and on the first few turns there are no attacks like in slot 3, then you're going to have to make that decision early on if you want to kind of change up your rotations a little bit, so that you can actually get the hits in with him. So let's switch over to the wiki view here. Do we have... I should have brought this up beforehand, but I noticed that the details for him were out straight away, so I thought we might as well just jump straight in and start recording. But so this is Super 17. This is Android 17 pre-EZA. So yeah, he didn't have any defense in his super. He didn't have any defense start of turn, and then he just had the damage reduction when HP is 77% or below. Now, when we look at his links are good for an Android team, right? Like Android Assault is a very good link. Twin Terrors is good if you are using other like 17 or 18 units. Same with Infinite Energy. Solid Support can be decent. Shocking Speed is the only thing where if you're throwing him onto a team with like a bunch of Saiyans. However, when we look at his categories, he is on Superheroes. And of course, if you want to run Superheroes with a double LR Ultimate Gohan lead, then Gohan has Shocking Speed. And that's one of people's kind of complaints with him, right? But with Android 17 on the rotation, if you put them, like if you put Gohan in slot 2, he's not only going to get 2 key from Shocking Speed, but then 17 gives 3 key as well. So He's going to have 5 key from Android 17. And then, of course, 17 is going to be providing all this extra defense, especially if you are below the HP threshold. Another big one is Battle of Fate. Defenders of Justice is a team that hasn't had buffs for a while. Battle of Wits, obviously you can have the 200% team with the STR Carnival Goku. Final Trump card, one of the Anniversary LR's leader skills, got a huge buff with the EZAs for the 5-year LRs. So having this guy floating on that team is really good. Worthy Rivals is another team that can do with buffs all the time. And then Reps of Universe 7 and Universe Survival Saga. These are obviously the big ones for him because of the EZA for the Blue Kaioken Goku, needing Reps of Universe 7 allies. And the Universe Survival Saga team has not really had buffs for quite a while. And then when it comes to the Android team, as I said when his EZA got announced, it's a little bit disappointing that he's not really going to be good to run with the new Super 17, because he does want a full rotation of extreme allies. But even so, like, if you did have him on the well, he's not even on Super 17's leader skill, so you'd have to run them together under a different Android lead. But it would be beneficial to the pre-fusion Super 17, when it's just 17 and Hellfighter 17, them getting a whole extra bunch of defense early on would definitely be very beneficial. So I feel like this guy is going to be super useful on all of the teams that he's on. And I think his EZA is definitely very solid overall, right? The raising defense on super attack just makes him perfect to use as a slot 3 support. If he additional supers, then obviously he raises his defense again. I think the best build for him is probably full additional and then dodge, because even though he does get that extra defense by being hit, you're obviously still better off if he's dodging most of the attacks. And even if you give him, like, say you go full additional and then dodge as the secondary, you're probably only going to get dodge up to maybe like 15 at the most. So it's not like he's going to be dodging every single attack anyway. So building up that extra 50% at the end of his passive is probably not going to be too difficult. I'd be interested to see the calcs on what he's actually going to look like. Like when his passive's fully built up, so he's got this extra 50%, and then after a double super, I feel like he could be having pretty solid defense. The only thing I do worry about a little bit is if you don't have this damage reduction active, I don't know if his raw defense is going to be high enough for if you were to get like super attacked in slot 3 by some of these bigger bosses like Broly, the Metal Cooler Core. I feel like they're probably still going to be killing this 17, but when you consider that his main role on the team is going to be a floating support unit, him getting killed by a super from the hardest bosses in the game is kind of to be expected, right? But if you have that damage reduction active, he probably isn't going to be, right? Because 17% damage reduction is decent. It depends what his raw defense gets up to. Like if he, after a double super and he's fully built up, if he's getting up to like, you know, 500-600k defense, then with that 17% damage reduction, maybe. But I mean, these units that are hitting for like 1,000,000 damage, right, they're probably still going to be killing him. But if you have that full damage reduction and he has 57%, then I feel like he is going to survive those supers. So I guess we have to see what he looks like in game. But let me know what you guys think. Are you happy with his EZA? Do you think it's good, bad, could be better? It's hard to say till we see his actual stats, but I think he's looking pretty good for the role that you want him to fulfill on a team. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.